Have y'all actually seen what it looks like in Minnesota? Just absolute chaos. And once you see why, you won't be able to unsee it, y'all. Watch this closely.
Y'all look good. I know. I'm not resisting. Hey, one at a time. I'm not resisting. Nobody did. I'm not resisting. Fucking cowards are here. I'm not resisting. I'm not doing shit. Leave me alone. Put your arm behind your back. This is how you spend your life? Hey, somebody got my phone? Chief JV Gestapo? That's what you want? I got your phone. Who do you need us to contact? Give us a phone number. Give us a phone number. My girlfriend's right behind you. Once you guys get him in, let's get him into Victor 3, okay? Yeah. I'm going to Victor 3. That's what they said. Victor 3. Get up. Give him a good pat down. Once you get him up, give him a good pat down. Get up. Put him in the vehicle. Hey, wagon here. All right, we're back here. Pick up the safe. Back up, you guys. That's so fucking bitchy. Stay back. Hey, you guys need a back up. Take a step back. Back up. Now racing outside of me. Move the shit. Put it back. Sorry? I'm sorry, I can't Run yourselves at a fucking gas station? Fuck you! You're a real fucking job! Wrong bitch! Behavior! Motherfucker! This guy's up. He bust out. You want her? No, I'm good. You're good. Triple.
Williams.
Notice something. This isn't a press conference. This isn't a courtroom. This isn't some sort of debate. This is what it looks like when the system stopped asking politely. You know, the left wants you to believe this moment came out of nowhere, like it just happened. But moments like this don't appear randomly. I'm telling y'all, they show up when pressure has been building up for a while, quietly. And the first people to feel that pressure are always the ones standing closest to the truth.
I'm so exhausted in trying to ask what any of this, information has led to you finding any criminals that you have indicted that explains why you are wasting so much of our taxpayer resources and also terrorizing our communities in the amount of federal law enforcement agents that you have in the the streets of our city and our state. There needs to be some sort of justification. I'm so exhausted.
Oh, wow. Some justification, huh? Y'all listen to that language. Oh, girl is in panic mode. Not there's no fraud. She didn't say, not the facts are distorted or nothing like that. She didn't give y'all none of that. But why are we even looking is her response. That's not a defense. That's straight deflection. When someone says investigation fraud is terrorizing communities, what they're really saying is accountability is the problem. And the left does this every single time. They don't argue the math. They argue the emotion because emotion can't be audited. But guess what can be? Numbers.
So I've been researching this issue of fraud, and most specifically Somali fraud, because it is so gargantuan for the past 7 years. Many of you are familiar with the video that Nick Shirley and I made. We have a second video that's coming out Monday that is 10 times worse than the original video. It's going to be pretty shocking and it's pretty graphic. So what I have here is a 5-year recap of all of the CCAP money, that's child care assistance payments, for the last 5 years. The top 102 recipients of that, 84 of them are Somali owned. You know how many children I've seen at those child care centers over the last 7 years? 0, not one. There's another pile of money, and it's called Great Start. And that money is given to the facility to train their staff. Well, if you don't have any kids, you don't need any staff. Then what I believe is the core of all this, is this non-emergency medical transportation. So a search showed that Minnesota recognizes 1,020 NEMT companies. Almost 900 of them are Somali owned. So in the second video, Nick Shirley and I went to 16 of them. I've actually been to about 70 of them. They don't exist. They're in an apartment building. One of them's a liquor store. Another one's a wire transfer. Another one is something totally unrelated. It's a grocery store. There are no vehicles. And the average NEMT company in the United States has 20 vehicles, and each vehicle generates about $70,000 a year. So you run those numbers, 800 companies, 20 vehicles, $70,000 a year, and it's an enormous sum of money that's going out. So my feeling is that chasing the money transfers and the wires and the SARS is great, but you got to drop like Batman on Minnesota DHS, because they're the ones who are writing the checks. They're the ones allowing the fraud to happen. Look, you can blame the Somalis, but if you stick your hand out and someone puts $100 in it, yet you're going to stick your hand out again and keep the people who are putting the $100 in have got to stop doing it. They got to get out of their office and go out and look at these facilities and say, this is an apartment building. You can't have a transportation company in an apartment building. And the vast majority of these companies exist on paper only. They're not real. They have no assets, no office, and no vehicles. The other thing is that when a child care facility receives federal funds, they must abide by Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title VI, which says that you cannot be exclusive to one ethnic group in your child care facility. It's discrimination. So when DHS goes out and does these inspections, they always do them announced. So they call ahead to let them know they're coming. So of course, you stockpile the kids in there and everything looks great. But do they actually count the number of kids that are there? Because some of these facilities are licensed for 120 kids, and they don't have any kids. And even if they do load kids in, they got 10 of them. But DHS doesn't going to go, with 10 kids, wait a minute, you're licensed for 120. What's going on here? They have no sign-in or sign-out sheet like a normal daycare is, so there's no way to track if there are any kids there, who they are, what race they are, any of that. So I'm asking for the Fed's help to come in and get to DHS and tell them get their act together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David.
Good. And David, I want to thank you for both your citizen journalism, but more for your citizen investigation in terms of what the Minnesota government was unwilling to do. And here, would you care to speculate whether it was negligence or corruption or some toxic cocktail of both?
So Governor Walz is on record as saying that organized crime caused the fraud in Minnesota. And I said, organized crime, but like the mafia, like the Colombo, I mean, you know, what is he talking about? He never got specific, but he did admit to knowing about the fraud in 2020. He's on record as saying that. Well, Minnesota has a law, and it's statute 3.971, subdivision 9, and it says that if you are head of an agency and you are made aware of fraud or suspected fraud, you must immediately contact the Office of the Legislative Auditor and notify them of the fraud. The legislative auditor then is the body that determines what law enforcement agency to bring into the investigation. Governor Walz said he contacted the FBI. He didn't. I talked to the FBI, but it's not his prerogative to do that. It's the legislative auditor's prerogative to do that. And look, I just want to say everything I've done on my own. I don't make a penny off this. I was born here. I grew up here. My whole family's here, and I'm not going to sit by while this happens and not do anything. I'm the guy who's going to make the difference. And I'm telling you, when this next video comes out, it's going to be World War III.
Well, I find myself in the unusual position of agreeing with Governor Walz that it was undoubtedly organized crime. And what we are seeing, and this is what Treasury does, we have successfully tracked and prosecuted the mafia. We have successfully tracked and prosecuted the Mexican cartels. And this is organized crime within the Somali community. So he is right. This is an organized criminal enterprise, and we will get to the bottom of it. And thank you for your help.
And so all of this fraud that you're now seeing being uncovered around the country after our video came out, everyone's going to these child care facilities, these adult care, there's nobody there. They're getting hundreds of millions of dollars. They go, where are the people? They're on a field trip. They're not there. So the fraud, I believe, is being developed here. The programs are being developed here, and then they're fanning out across the country. But this is their ground zero right here. This is their base, Minneapolis.
Yep. This is the moment the room changes, because this isn't hype. This is someone saying, who went alongside Nick Shirley, was saying, like, I've seen what's coming and you're not ready. Yeah, I ain't ready. Notice how fast the narrative shifts right here. Suddenly it's not nothing to see. It's please don't look any closer. That's when you know you're standing near something real.
We're going to turn our attention back to the Somali fraud investigation. As we've discussed before, authorities have discovered suitcases containing hundreds of millions of dollars in a Minnesota airport. Now, in the meantime, Republicans are working to cut funding for Somali-led organizations with alleged ties to the massive fraud scandal. Now, as the FBI pushes forward with its own investigation, one key question arises. What does accountability even look like in this case moving forward? So joining us now to talk about all of this and more is New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Great to be on with you, too. What a crazy time we're seeing here, aren't we?
Absolutely insanity. And I know oversight in the House is looking into these fraud allegations, but I wonder if it's even bigger than we have uncovered thus far. The $700 million in cash going out of the airports there. I have a feeling we are still just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it looks really bad, and obviously very alarming to see that this U.S. cash has been legally going through our airports. And of course, there is a requirement of reporting if you're going to carry more than $10,000. There's a reporting requirement, but I think a really interesting part about this is isn't it going to be a little suspicious when you start seeing 10,000, 100,000, millions, and now, more, as John reported earlier, more money that goes through JFK, goes through the Minneapolis airport. Something's wrong there. And I think something that's very interesting that we impose on banks is that banks are required under banking law to require and file and keep track of what they call suspicious activity reports. This is something I think we need to do now when we see the large amounts of U.S. cash, and it's always U.S. cash. I mean, you're not going to see, Chinese yen or anything else going through there. And U.S. cash is king, and we need to certainly have this type of cash exchange reported. It's interesting because you see all this illegal immigration we've had over this time. And by the way, most of those Somalis that are in Minnesota probably came through a refugee program, and probably many of them are already legal American citizens. So suspicious activity reports, some kind of accounting for cash, I think would really be helpful. I'm looking at ways that we might be able to do this so that we could actually look at what's going on. Banks are required to do that. Individuals are not. But I'll tell you, if I'm a TSA agent or anyone else and I see this kind of cash going through and that you're able to report the amount of cash going through, that it's happening in plain sight. We're seeing corruption in plain sight. Most of the remittances that go back often go to these foreign countries, and there's substantial portions of their economy, whether it's Guatemala and Mexico and other countries. Their own workers are sending that money back. But this is at a level that is just unprecedented, and I really think we need to look into a way to track that and to actually show that we can hold them accountable, and that type of suspicious activity leads to fraud, arrest, and what we're seeing unfold every day in Minnesota, which seems to get worse by the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. I want to ask about the two most common way illegal aliens, also legal aliens, by the way, legal residents of the United States, but move money out of the country, remittance payment centers, and of course these cash couriers like the ones that we're working out of the Minneapolis airport. Is there any thought in Congress to requiring that a remittance payment business or a cash courier ascertain and make sure that before they move money, the person that they're moving money from out of the United States is a lawful resident or citizen?
Yeah, I think that should be a requirement. And also they should have some kind of certification that you are a person that we can trust. Our intelligence forces have already vetted that you can be carrying these huge amounts of cash back and forth to other countries. And I don't think those types of laws are in place. And I think that's a really good way to start having accountability and also tracking where this cash leaving the United States is going. And look what it would have led to had we paid attention to this over the last 10 years, and what you reported earlier on $700 million. I mean, that's almost $1 billion going, I think it was 700 million going, through an airport in Minneapolis, not JFK. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
This is where excuses die. $700 million. Not feelings, not opinions. This is not tweets. Cash leaving the country. And here's the quiet part the left never explains. If this money wasn't connected to the fraud, why is it moving like it was? And it definitely doesn't need protection, right?
What's it look like inside those communities? Is it clean?
No, it's not clean at all. You have...
Is it safe?
No, it's not safe. In fact, in June, I was with my mom. She helps me film a lot of times. They jumped me and my mom. They jumped over me, grabbed my camera. They took it from me. And then my mom, she tried to go like all mama bear and like step in. I was like, Mom, stop. And so I actually kind of stopped bringing my mom with me after that because the Somalis tried to attack us and they're about ready to punch me and smash my camera. And then I had my mom coming after me, like trying to defend for myself. And I had to like get my mom out of the situation. And then I had this like 6'4" Somalian man with 3 other guys, and he's going in the back of his car to grab something. And my mom's freaking out and I'm just trying to get my camera back. And then they finally give it back, and then they follow us all the way out.
No shit. So they're pissed that you're...
There's entire Somali gangs that control these locations.
What are the names of the gangs? Do you know?
I don't know the names of the gangs.
How big are the gangs?
I'm sure they're just friend groups, because that's what kind of gangs are in the United States for the most part. It's just a group of friends that walk around armed, like they're little militias. And whether it be 10 friends, 20 friends, 30 friends, or entire organization, it kind of varies depending on cities here in the United States. But there's entire just gangs. There's like, you can look it up on YouTube. There's gangs inside, like Somali wars going on inside of these areas.
And this is the part that they don't want you to connect. Fraud creates money. Money creates power. Power creates intimidation. That's the whole pipeline here. And when journalists like Nick Shirley, who is the front man for this, are getting threatened, when cameras start getting smashed, that's not random chaos, man. Not at all. And this is why they're nervous, because once people realize this isn't just Minnesota, they start to see a pattern. And now, spotlight is moving, y'all. Can't wait to see what happens next in terms of what develops. So, comment. We're going to recycle this too. Comment receipts if you made it to the end. Be safe. Go check on somebody today. You could be saving their life. Peace.